we probably didn't have much fold equity. But in all honesty, we were looking to get called off by we were looking to price in a hand like 7-6 or 4-4 or something like that. We got exactly what we wanted. Unfortunately, he got lucky, and well, that just happens. But that right there is absolutely a profitable shove. I would take that spot every time. So this is the guy that loves draws. That's good and bad for us. Bad for the fact that it could make us commit some chips here that we could be already behind on, but we're going to anyways. So let's see here. There's actually a couple different ways we could play this. We could bet here. I don't know what betting here is really going to accomplish. I don't know what we're going to be able to fold out, and I don't really think we want to fold anything out here. There's definitely an argument that can be made for protecting your hand. I don't really believe in protecting your hand for the most part. If he outdraws, then fine. It's not a big amount of chips here. If we're much deeper in the tournament, then by all means, we're definitely willing to try to protect our hand and protect our chip EV, our dollar EV. But for right here, we're just going to put in a small bet. I can't imagine he's going to get too far out of line. We put in a small enough bet so that if he does 3-bet us, then we have room to call. Depending on what size he puts out here, depending on what size betting he puts out here, we're probably going to call. Just because the flush connects on the river doesn't mean he has it. Just because there's a queen on the board, that's obviously a pretty big bet sizing. What I would like to say though is that he didn't follow suit to what he did last time when he got checked back to a flush draw. So we'll call and see what happens. You got the queen. Way to go for thin value with your queen, I guess. Kind of an interesting hand. So, I definitely could have fired on the flop. Obviously, I guess I probably would have gotten him to fold, but that's fine. So we'll mark that as a misplayed hand. We'll do it in our hold. So we raise, call. So we're just gonna call. So that I don't really see the necessity to isolate here. Ace queen's a pretty solid hand in late position. So not a good flop for us. So we're gonna raise here. Obviously there's a ton of really big stacks here. So we really can't raise actually. Let's see. Let's check back. I'm just gonna fold. We don't have enough big blinds really. There's too many big stacks here, right? And they're not even big stacks, they're just much bigger than ours. But at this point we're really just looking for a spot to jam. Wow. So I guess he's just looking to pick up dead money. Or we maybe made his hand. Either way, we can't call. Wow, he got snapped off too. That was fantastic. What did he shove with? So he got shoved with ace-10. So he picked up the open ender and decided to get a stack in. That, but so be it. Pocket kings, we're just going to min raise. There's no reason to raise any bigger. We want action. I'm not scared to play a multi-way pot, especially when I flop top set, or second set, but flop a set of kings. So a couple different things we can do here. There's two people in the hand, so we are a little worried about the fact that it's possible somebody could have hearts. Just because 2 hearts hit the board doesn't mean anybody has 2 hearts in their hand. But we're definitely going to put out a little bit bigger a bet than we normally would with a set. Probably going to put out just about half pot, so 339. Normally I would put out significantly less. I'd be trying to induce. I'd be looking for somebody to try to three bet me, or try to jam over the top to fold, to capitalize on fold equity. In this spot, this is actually a great card for us. It doesn't do anything. It's a complete blank. So we don't. The only thing we can think of here is that maybe he's got an ace. Maybe he's got a naked ace. Maybe he's on the hard draw. Either way, he should be willing to call a decent sized bet. The 8 didn't change anything, and he was willing to call a bet on the flop. So we'll put out a slightly larger bet than we did last time compared to the pot. And I would assume he's probably going to call this here if he has a naked ace. He may even think that we have a hard draw and we're just trying to push him off of an ace. This is a great card for us. The only thing we're beat here by is pocket aces or queen 10. And in all honesty, if he floated with queen 10 there on a gut shot, then he deserves the pot, I guess, since he made it. But we definitely want max value, so we're gonna put out a pretty big bet this time, and we're gonna assume that if he's got a naked ace or two pair, he's gonna call off. Now, if he jams all in, kind of puts us in a tight spot. I can't imagine he's gonna jam in with less than a set or queen 10. Some players will do it with two pair, which is absolutely terrible, but at least in that spot it's terrible. So there's obviously some boards that getting your stack in with two pair is absolutely the right play if you think you can get called off. That kind of board, it's definitely not. It's definitely a spot where if you get your stack in with two pair, unless you have top two pair, you're likely not getting called by anything that doesn't have you beat. So let's see here. So I don't normally play 2-3. It's a trash hand. It's really hard to connect with anything. So I would say that because of pot odds and pot odds alone, we're getting pretty good pot odds here. I think we have to call. I mean, it's really, to be honest, in those kind of spots, if your stacks are deep enough, it's unprofitable not to take 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, 7-1. Pot odds. You have to take those spots. Only if your stacks are deep enough. If you're taking 6-1 pot odds with 10 big blinds, then those are the spots you really can't take, right? People justify it. They flat, either in position or out of position, because they're getting 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 6-1 odds. If you're getting odds that good, you really should just be getting your stack in anyways. If you have a hand that you think you have enough equity with. But flatting, the problem with flatting is that you're gonna brick most of the time. And so now if you have to put in one big blind or two big blind and you only have 10, you're committing 10 to 20% of your stack. So if you look at it more as a percentage of your stack, compared to the odds that you're getting, then compared to the pot odds, then that's really how you should be looking at it, right? So this guy limps in late position. We're gonna ISO. I know I have 5-9, but that's irrelevant. So we're gonna raise to 399. So actually, we're gonna make this 409. We're ISOing purely just to take down the pot. We're really not trying to play 5-9. Most of the time, the way this will go is we're gonna raise. He's gonna call because he's getting odds. He's gonna brick the flop, check to us. We're gonna fire a c-bet, and he's gonna fold. Now there are times that he's gonna do that as well. He's gonna 3-ball stuff it back in our face, and so in those times we're just gonna fold. So we got caught. Bravo, nice hand. Happens. No shame in it. You know, we made a move, didn't work, move on. But most of the time, it's not going to go like that. We obviously need to make a note on this guy that so we just saw the guy limp, and so now he raises here. So we're just going to flat. So we know he's capable of pulling out the old 3-bet and probably likely to be able to capable of 4-betting. So we don't want to get in a 4 or 5 bet war with ace queen suited. It's a great hand just to flat with, especially when we flop like this. So this is a good board for us. So we're definitely c-betting here. We could be beat by ace jack, ace king. We would love to be called by ace 10, but obviously those are ranges that you can't automatically assign. So we're gonna raise here. We know jack attack is pretty aggressive. I think a raise here to maybe 377. Yeah, we'll go with 377. Yeah, so this is probably, we're just going to get our stack in. If he has ace king, bravo, nice hand. I think more often than not we actually caught this guy. We caught him making a move back, and we did. That's just fucking terrible, dude. I mean, terrible. Wow. So I don't like the 3-bet. I certainly don't like his 3-bet. That's obviously his MO, and tells us that that the hand before he probably had absolutely nothing. So we made a move, he made a move, he won. That time we caught him, and that's exactly why we played it the way we did. If we had 3-bet pre, he likely would have 4-bet stuffed, and we really can't call there. A lot of people would probably more than happy to call for the ace queen suited. I'm not one of those people. He hasn't shown a lot of interest in this pot. In all honesty, I'd rather check call here. I don't think we're going to fold out a lot that's connected with this board. And we have way too much equity against all other hands, especially once we flop especially once we river an ace, we actually hit top pair. Depending on what he does here, so that's pretty big bet compared. So there's a couple different ways to look at this. Check back flop, he could have equity with a draw. He obviously could have flopped it here. We're just going to stuff this. We're going to call. I think too often he shows up with hands like that, or he shows up with missed draws. We flop God. We just need to fade some diamonds. Now we need to fade a jack. And we hit quads, so it doesn't matter. It's actually the second time today we've hit quads. We tend to run pretty good. But so there's a lot of hands that he shows up with there. More often than not, it's going to be a missed draw. That's going to be the biggest part of his range right there, especially when he limps the button like that. I actually think that limping the button with ace-5 is actually bad. I don't mind the call for the raise, right? So when I raise there, I don't mind the call. That's obviously why he's doing it, right? He's limping so that he can call a raise. But to me, ace-5, even though it's in position, I don't think it's going to be too far ahead of a big blind 3-bet. And by limping, he really doesn't give himself any information. So when he limps there, I can 3-bet with a lot of hands because he hasn't shown any strength. And so I have a much wider